Wayne and Bao are my two boyfriends, and they're gonna be calling 3 o'clock in the morning. Wayne had the house number. So now mind you, I have my kid, my husband has his kid. We have kids. And by the way, it's my house that I pay for. I pay all the bills. Everybody's dependent on me. I'm the boss bitch. Like, you don't pay for nothing.
You don't answer no phones around here.
All right, guys, y'all looking at the thumbnail. Y'all looking at the title of the video. Y'all already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Guys, let's just hop back down in there. So I did a video none too long ago. All right, title of that video is "You Won't Believe What Superhead is Teaching Modern Women." Within this video, the young lady that you see on the screen right here was speaking about what makes a good wife. And she said, I'm paraphrasing, sluts make good wives, which was completely preposterous. We tore that video up. Here's what I noticed within that video. Within the comment section, so many people were like, who is she? I've never heard of her before. Now, I compiled a couple of clips for you here today in order to investigate her background, but her as a case study is so important. Why? Because she combines the power of pretty privilege and the power of a woman's femininity to trick men like you've never seen before. So we must get active and we must investigate the modern woman final boss. Without further ado,
Wayne and Bao are my two boyfriends, and they're gonna be calling 3 o'clock in the morning. Wayne had the house number. So now mind you, I have my kid, my husband has his kid. We have kids. And by the way, it's my house that I pay for. I pay all the bills. Everybody's dependent on me. I'm the boss bitch. Like, you don't pay for nothing.
You don't answer no phones around here.
Whatever, I do what the fuck I want. And I remember just waking up my husband like, hey, I gotta go, I'm taking the Rover. You gotta move your car.
You couldn't move it to the street and then pull it yourself out?
No, I'm not doing all this manual labor. And then he would move the car. And then I remember one particular night, I was in my car, I was backing out the driveway. He moved his car into the street, and then he gave me a kiss goodbye. I'm like, all right, baby, I'll see you in like 2 or 3 days.
Not 2 or 3 days.
Yes, and then I'd be gone for 2 or 3 days, and then I would go home to my husband, and he would have my dinner waiting, my bath water ran.
I want to be like Elizabeth when I grow up.
And then like a glass of wine, like, welcome home, honey. Did you have fun? Yes, bitch, I had so much fun.
first things first, what kind of lame-o sits up under another woman's roof, allows her to pay all of the bills, allows her to have boyfriends while you're married, while the kids are at home, allows her to leave for 2 to 3 days, and then when she comes back, she's talking about this yes bitch shit to you? She has absolutely no respect for you. There's not an ounce of masculinity within your body. You're a professional punk. What I thought was also interesting in that clip to note is the other young lady saying, I want to be like her when I grow up. This is how you get women that market being independent, or market being the boss bee, or market their sexual independence or liberation to other young women. This is how you get those in the industry, such as a Lori Harvey, looking up to this type of lifestyle, to women not in the industry or more normal type women aspiring for this type of lifestyle as well. And this is what y'all call women's empowerment? Women influencing other women to be Super Saiyan thought pockets? I think not.
Corinne Steffens became known as the whistleblower for the secrets of popular hip-hop figures in the 2000s when she published a controversial book about her experience as a video vixen.
I found in my own life is that my sensuality plays a very big part in everything that I do. It
Pay
gets me
attention.
into doors. It makes people want to interview me, and and it makes it a lot, I think, easier for me. It makes it a lot easier for me because honestly, I don't have to work as hard to get what I want initially, you know?
She's vindictive. She's whack.
Corinne is nuts.
The lady is a tramp.
I was called everything in the book.
At 16 years old, she ran away from home and moved in with her boyfriend Reggie, who was a hustler. Her boyfriend Reggie's mother was an exotic dancer who introduced her to the world of stripping. But Reggie's mother eventually grew jealous at the fact that Corinne was making more money than her at the club, and their mother-daughter relationship fell apart. She would be romantically linked to different music artists, athletes, and industry executives. Corinne wasn't holding down a regular job, so she was romancing men for a living, and her lovers would wire thousands of dollars into her bank account every month. She was also drinking regularly and started dabbling with illegal substances. Her memoir, Confessions of a Video Vixen, was published on June 28, 2005 through HarperCollins and Amistad. Confessions of a Video Vixen had bombshell revelations about her escapades and affairs with famous men that included...
Okay, before the men that included, what did we learn right there, okay? She said it before. She essentially weaponizes her sensuality to get things within her life. What's a synonym of sensuality? Femininity. If she had masculine characteristics or behaviors, nobody would care. If she wasn't attractive, nobody would care. But she leverages her femininity and the way that she looks to not only trick feminists into her empowerment bullshit, but then also trick simps into her bullshit. Let's move on.
Usher, Diddy, Vin Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal,
Damn!
Ja Rule, DMX, Exhibit, Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Fred Durst, and Bobby Brown, some of whom were married at the time.
You just kind of pass each other. You do one of these, and you just keep going.
Because I'll admit, if somebody wrote something about me in a book, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, and people wrote things about me in songs. So I've been pissed off before. I've been written about in magazines, you know, that were lies. And I've been pissed off before, too. You know, so I know how it feels. But the difference is that the things that were written about me weren't the truth. And this is the truth. And I tell them, as I tell everyone, if your name is in this book and you see something that you don't like, then you shouldn't have done it.
So do you think that you wrote this book because of revenge, out of revenge?
No, see, revenge is something that happens when people are miserable and upset and
So weren't
bitter.
you miserable and upset
Not when
and
I wrote
bitter?
this book. Not when I wrote this book.
Corinne, I have to disagree with you because when I read the book, you were saying that you're really upset that, you know, that you were down and out, that these were the guys that you would go out with and wine and dine and spend a lot of money and hang out.
Yeah.
And then you had
But
your
I
rock
still
bottom.
have that lifestyle now. The
No, but I'm
lifestyle
saying,
hasn't changed.
but I'm talking about your rock bottom. And you hit a rock bottom where you were homeless,
Yeah.
living in the car with your son,
Absolutely.
freezing to death,
Bitter.
Absolutely.
using jackets to stay
But
warm.
all of that was my fault.
No, but
That
I'm saying,
wasn't their
what I'm
fault.
saying is you called these guys and said, I need some help.
Yeah.
And
And
none
they
of them
said
helped
no.
you. None of them helped
me.
you.
The same
course.
man who wrote me a $10,000 check on our first date wouldn't help me. Everything that happened to me was my fault. I did it to myself.
But
I
then why
allowed
name names?
people-
If there's no anger,
Why
why name
not?
the names?
Why not? It's just the truth. And so now that I've healed, it feels right to say, you know what? Let's not give this a pretty name anymore. Let's not say I was hanging out. Let's not say I wasn't. And my son went through a lot of this with me.
being a thought pocket.
When I slept in the car, he was the only person in the car with me.
But you put your son and you dedicated your book to the son, which means it opens it up to
Oh,
his school
God.
because his name is in the book.
His first name's in the book. A lot of children are
Yes.
named Naeem.
Yeah, but you pick him up at school and you look just like this.
Right.
Okay,
So
and all the
that's your-
parents are going to be, I'm in the PTA. I feel that people expect me to be ashamed.
Shout out to Tyra first and foremost for trying to hold her accountable. But imagine having all of this money thrown at you, 10K for dates, you around all of these stars, and you still manage to be sleeping in a car by yourself with your son. What a loser. And you dedicate your book, which is about exposing all of these men that helped you at one point of your life that, you know, I'll admit was even exchange on both sides of the coin. But then you dedicate that to your son? The real lesson here is all about risk to men, okay? You choose risky women, you end up with risky prizes. I guarantee you that all of the men that she tricked regretted the decision to let a succubus near them. Because inevitably, she just used all of their names for profit.
Over the next few years, she would be romantically linked to men like Mike Tyson, Jamie Foxx, Bill Maher, who she was dating at the time of the release of Confessions,
Tripping.
Lil Wayne, who she claims impregnated her while she was married to another man. She dated actor and dancer Columbus Short, which ended in the messiest way possible.
Somebody come get official C Short cheating ass and all of his shit. Oh, wow. Down bad, my G. Sheesh.
She was married to Family
And outed
Matters
you.
star Darius McCrary for 2 years, but that was
Not
another
Family Matters.
tumultuous relationship that resulted in a restraining order against him. She dated power star
Simps.
Rotimi and claimed he abandoned her when his acting career took off, and the list goes on.
Holy
But it's
moly.
very clear that even though she left the hip-hop model lifestyle behind, she was still repeatedly finding herself in toxic relationships and messy situations. Corinne says that the years she spent as a music
What gender studies college or institution did y'all have Corinne Steffens come up and talk about shit? You know, it's actually just remind me of too. Remember when, wasn't it Brittany Renner that was doing a talk with DM Sanders, I think at like University of Florida or some shit like that. So Brittany, is that where you got the idea from to do tours all over campus and shit? From the godmother of modern woman, Corinne Steffens, Superhead? Now it all makes sense. Let's proceed.
video vixen taught her to value herself over money and fame. She says, I think I have sold so much of myself for so little. I never felt pretty or cared for. With these men, I felt glamorous and powerful, and I did feel loved. I wasn't going to get better unless I said something and said it out loud, end quote.
Stay in your daughter's lives, fellas.
We know what happens to little black boys that have no dads. We've heard that. We get it. But no one is really saying that young women who are born without fathers have real serious issues, especially when their mother had no father and the mother has issues.
It's a dirty cycle.
When I talk about it, people are actually listening, end quote.
It's almost like there's a radar that goes out when you're a new girl in LA. Like the guys just know you're fresh meat.
Talk to me about that names, give me situations.
Instantly, I just started meeting people.
And you met?
The first person I bumped into out was Ja Rule at a club.
Where's Ja?
5 days of nonstop sex. Superhead is a moniker that I gave myself in a personal relationship of mine that I had with an artist, and it was a joke between us based on our love life, and it was all of those things. But unfortunately, it got out, and once it got out, it got misunderstood. You know, I'm not saying it's not true.
Superhead was a word between you two, or
just between us. It's something that I came up with between us. It was funny to us. It was meaningful to us, and but then I find that sometimes men talk more than women do, and then so it ended up being a thing of its own. And so what I did was, knowing that it was going to be, I knew that it would get out of control. I knew that with everything that I was doing, that it was going to come up. And so instead of allowing someone else to bring it up and try to bring me down with it, I decided to turn it around, be honest about it, talk about it, discuss it, and move on. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you very much.
So much, I appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.
Listen, you know, the one thing that I can actually respect about her is that, at least publicly, she's not trying to pretend like she's something that she's not. She seems very open, very upfront, very honest. She just wears and adorns her scarlet letter. But for some reason, she continues to trick these young men. And for that, I think that she's a fantastic case study when you begin to understand the power of the male gaze and the power of a woman's femininity, and the power that you have as men if you can discipline yourself within that. Men, dear men, listen to me. Stop letting these pretty face strumpets convince you to simp or convince you to get tricked, just like Superheads book victims allowed her to do. Men must practice restraint and test these women by looking at their actions, especially under pressure, before you get comfortable with them, or you can get caught slipping. The worst thing that can happen to you is either your name being used as profit, all the way up to having your time wasted, like Michael B. Jordan. Stay strong, fellas. Until next time, YouTube.